Hey guys, this is AFS Alarm 777 bringing you something a little bit different. I'm going to bring you a deck profile. It's not something I've done in public, at least. I've done a little bit of practicing in my own private square, just showing my friends, maybe doing a couple meme deck profiles, but this is my first real one that I'm releasing out for everyone to see. And it's going to be my main deck, my Cyber Dragons. It's not going to be anything particularly groundbreaking, but it's interesting enough, and I wanted to do it. So here we go. Starting off with the main deck, it's obvious every single Cyber Dragon deck's got to have it. Triple Cyber Dragons, followed by triple core and triple hers. This is your primary set of cards that you're trying to draw. Cyber Dragon, weirdly enough, for a lot of old school decks, you don't want to draw your main monster like Blue Eyes or Dark Magician. You want to bring those to your hand somehow. Cyber Dragon, really not a big issue if you draw it, especially if you're going second. Core is your primary search. You want this in your hand almost all the time. And hers is your main dump target. You want to throw it in the graveyard. It's free recursion. Very good. Next up, we have 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Naster and 1 copy of Veer. So with Naster, you're going to dump something in your graveyard and be able to special summon him. Free special summon, very good. And if you're dumping hers, then you get to go plus off of it. Really easy way to get some link plays going. Same thing with Veer. It's a free summon so long as you get any other Cyber Dragon on the field. It's just really easy way to start linking up. That is going to be your Cyber Dragon package as far as your monsters go. Next up, we're going to go with 2 copies of Galaxy Soldier. A lot of people run this in their deck. It is a bit of a double-edged sword because sometimes you may draw it without any fodder to dump in the graveyard. So it can be a little bricky, but if you get a good hand with it, it's pretty much a free Cyber Dragon Infinity. Very, very big. You definitely want to run it. Next are some tech cards. I'm running 1 copy of Electromagnetic Turtle. I know I could probably be running something better here, but I really like running this thing. If you're stuck going first and you can put a Chimeratech Rampage Dragon on the field, you can dump this into the graveyard, and if your board gets wiped, you can at least protect your life points for 1 more turn. 2 copies of the Star Destroying Kaiju. I'm not going to attempt to say his first name. Obviously, it's a Kaiju. Get some problematic monsters off your opponent's board. Can't be negated. And it's a machine, which is going to be really huge for the fusion deck, and I'll show that later. And then the all-important triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. It's the only real hand trap that I'm running in the deck. You definitely can run more, but I choose to run the rest of my hand traps over in the side deck. So that is your toolbox, and then the final set of monsters. Be really telling what we're going with here. A Dark Magician and a Red Eyes Black Dragon. Like I said, I think you know where we're going with this now. So, going into the spells. You're going to have triple copies of Cyber Dragon Emergency. This is going to search out any Cyber Dragon you want. It is really good comboed with Cyber Dragon Core. If you start with Emergency, you can search for Core. If you start with Core, you can search for Emergency. Point is, you're going to be getting multiple Cyber Dragons on the field in any way. Next up, you want 2 copies of Cyber Rev System. A lot of people run this at 1, but I've found that special summoning for free, just 1 card, you're just going -1 card to get a monster on the field. That's really big, especially for link plays. And I just think that's incredibly important. And I know that's going to go a little counterintuitive to what I'm going with next. Double machine duplication Usually people run triple of these, but I wanted to make room for Called by the Grave, which will come up later. In fact, I'll just go ahead and skip to it. We're having one Called by the Grave. Thank you, ban list. I wanted to make room for this, and I could have thrown out something else in the deck, but this is what I didn't have room for at the time. So I just threw out a machine duplication. I thought that it is good, but if you draw this on its own and you don't have a Hers or a Core, maybe even a Nashter, then it really just screws you over and it can easily get ashed. I think it's really good, and if you can resolve its effect, it's going to be amazing. But if you can't, then it's really just a dead card. Oh yeah, and Called by the Grave is just because Cyber Dragons do not recover well, so you want your combos going through at all costs. So next up you have Cyber Repair Plant. This is going to be some recursion, get some stuff back in your hand after you've comboed off. Finally, we're going to go into the fusion spells. We want triple Overload Fusion. These are really important because you're dumping a lot of stuff in your graveyard, especially if you're going for link plays. It'll allow you to get a fusion monster on the field even though you went through all these different link plays. We're going to follow that up with a Cyberload Fusion. Cyberload Fusion is really important that you run just a one of because it can be easily searched out, and it's not going to be the most helpful fusion spell to just hard draw. You'll often want to combo this off of an Overload Fusion. If you've dumped all your monsters and you don't have anything left, you just want to get a Cyberload Fusion, and you can use those banished monsters as material. Then we have a Red Eyes Fusion. This, of course, is going to be your Dragoon play. Hey, you have to run it, unfortunately. And one copy of Super Polymerization. A lot of people like to run triple copies of this and then just throw it in the side deck. I like to run one copy of it so it can be searched out by Anaconda, and you don't hard draw it when you don't want it. And then the last three cards, they are not fusion related. You have Limiter Removal. This is just really going to help you in your OTK and swinging over hard monsters. And then double copies of Cybernetic Overload. It's the only trap in the deck. It's actually really important because it's non-targeting removal, and some monsters you just really need that for. So that's it for the main deck. We'll be moving on to the extra deck now. So your main boss monster, we're going to start with the fusions. The main boss monster here is Chimeratech Rampage Dragon. You want two of him because if you lose him, that's kind of devastating. However, you can't afford to run just one. It's really, really a good thing that he's level 5. It helps you pivot if you figure out you're not going to be able to OTK this turn. You're going to be able to just go straight into a Cyber Dragon Infinity. Really good. He has back row removal. As well as he can take stuff out of your deck and pitch it to the grave. Very, very big, amazing monster, really good boss monster. Only downside is his attack stat, but we have a way to take care of that here in a minute. But before that, we have Chimeratech Overdragon. This is sort of like a last-ditch effort. If you are running out of plays and you really need something, I've noticed that Chimeratech Overdragon is... He's a godsend when you're in those types of situations. Next up, you have your Chimeratech Fortress Dragon and Chimeratech Megafleet Dragon. Now, these are your non-targeting removal from your extra deck. So, obviously, everyone knows about this card. That if you know about Cyber Dragons, you know about Chimeratech Megafleet Dragon. He can remove pretty much any link monster. Link monsters have to pay attention to the extra monster zone rule. Thank you, Master Rule 5. So you're able to just remove anything in the extra monster zone for free, so long as you have a Cyber Dragon on the field. It's very big, very helpful. Definitely, I said it before with this card here, but it's a godsend. And with the current meta, how it is, with Zeus being so prominent, Zeus is a machine, which means no matter where it gets put, it is not safe from Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. And fusion summoning is not something that you can respond to. So Fortress Dragon is huge taking care of a Zeus. Next up, we have some super poly targets. I have the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. It's a little rough because you have to give up a dark monster, and that's probably going to come from your fusion, your extra deck. But if you're getting something problematic off the field, then it's well worth it. And then I'm also going with a Panzer Dragon because if you'll notice, a lot of really good monsters are really good boss monsters, I should say, are dragons, especially when you're going with the modern day Dragon Link meta. You probably want Panzer Dragon over, say, Mud Dragon. Mud Dragon does get rid of light monsters for you, but I like Panzer Dragon more because not only does it have removal as part of its effect, but it's also a level 5 monster. It can pivot into your Cyber Dragon Infinity plays. And then finally, of course, you all knew it was coming. Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. This is your problematic monster. It is your meta card. It destroys so much. So if your Cyber Dragons just can't deal with anything, Dragoon probably can. So next up, we have 2 copies of Cyber Dragon Nova and 2 copies of Infinity. Obviously, you want to go into Nova first because you have to, and then from Nova you go up into Infinity. I'll explain some plays regarding this later, but Infinity is just so huge. It's an Omni Negate. It's targeting, but it's a non-destruction removal. Incredible monster. It's probably the best Cyber Dragon monster because it's the one that gets splashed into other decks more than any other card. So you definitely want 2 copies of this because losing it is just the worst. So that was it for the Xyz. You could alternatively run a copy of Zeus, but that's a bit too rich for my blood. So my deck is slightly more budget. Dragoon is definitely not budget, but I happened to pull it, so I got to add it to my deck. There's other options out there, though, so don't worry. This deck is definitely reasonable for a budget. So next we have Salamangreat Almirage. If you ever end up in a situation where you have to just leave your Cyber Dragon Core or hers or Nashter on the field, no need to worry. Almirage is going to get them off the field for you. Having said that, Almirage does need a target, so you may actually replace this with Linkuriboh because Linkuriboh is not going to need a target on your side of the field. I personally just like Almirage to protect my monsters from nasty effects. We're going to follow that up with the Cyber Dragon Link monster, Cyber Dragon Sieger, I don't know. Point is, he's going to be part of your big combo. You definitely need at least 1 copy in your deck. Some people run 2. It's hard to afford extra deck space. But I guess if you're running a budget deck, you can run 2 of these because you're not going to be running the Predaplant Verte Anaconda. This is going to be huge for your fusion plays. It gets out Dragoon. It can search out the Super Poly very easily. All sorts of things. It's very huge for this deck. And that is going to cover the extra deck. Now going into the side deck. So this is where it gets a lot less expensive. Side deck is something that it feels a little more personal than the main deck. The main deck, it's almost like a formula that needs to be solved. The side deck, it's something more, what do you struggle with? What do you need to deal with? So I noticed that I have a lot of problems with dealing with graveyards, so I run triple DD Crow that is going to banish out some problematic stuff. I have a friend that plays Salamangreat, so this is great for getting rid of his Beta Links. Next up, there's triple Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. It's a very budget option for removal. It's not going to negate any effects, but that's okay, just as long as the monster gets off the field. Very, very big. Now, combo decks dealing with stuff like Dragon Link. You got Droll and Lockbird. Droll and Lockbird, for some decks, it is very much just a turn ender. I like it a whole lot. There are some other options you could do. You could run something like Nibiru. That will also effectively end the turn. It's basically just a really good replacement for Max C since it's banned in TCG. It's also a fair replacement for Max C, let's say that. Next up, this is where things get a little more on the expensive side. I'm running proxies, so you'll have to excuse me. I have triple copies of Evenly Matched. It is just so good for this deck. This is a going second deck. Cyber Dragon has always been a going second deck. Evenly Matched is just so good for that. It's an easy clear on the field. You just know that your opponent's going to set up some problematic board. Just drop Evenly Matched, and you either get one of their negates or you just wipe their board. Very, very easy. And then finally, triple Imperm. This is how you deal with some problematic effects that aren't necessarily Omni negates. And if you're lucky, you can also screw over someone's spell card. That is, if you set it prior. So I say that it's a pretty solid side deck. If you want to copy it, you can. I do think there might be some better options, but these are the things that I struggle with, and they help me out. So that's my side deck. Now I'm going to move in to the combo section. I just want to show one combo. It's not the end-all be-all Cyber Dragon combo, but it's going to get your 3 main boss monsters on the field in one turn. So I just want to show that to you guys. It's not going to put Dragoon on the field. It's not going to put any of the other broken cards on the field. It's just going to put your 3 main boss monsters. And I know when some people say they want to play Cyber Dragon, well, they actually want to play the Cyber Dragons, not any of the other meta cards. So I just want to show one combo that's going to get all that on the field. Okay, let's go over the combo section of the deck profile. So this is going to be a 2 or 3 card combo. It depends on how hard you want to combo. If you want to go with the full combo, you're going to need 3 cards. And I know the meta is all about 1 card combos right now. It sucks that it has to be 3 cards, but I mean, Cyber Dragon is rogue at best, so this is just what you have to deal with. So you're going to be going second most of the time because that's where you want to be. So let's give yourself another card. I'm going to give Overload Fusion. These 3 cards here are not helping you. These 2 are Garnets, and this here is not helping you unless you're going first. So we're just going to set those aside and forget about them. These are the 3 cards you're going to want to combo with. You're going to start off with Cyber Dragon Core. Now, I do want to mention that this combo is very susceptible to Ash. The only reason I'm showing you this combo is because it puts all of your Cyber Dragon monsters on the field. And I know, like I said earlier, some people just want to play actual Cyber Dragons, not all the meta stuff. So that's what I'm showing you. We're going to make the assumption that you're not going to get ashed, you're not going to get negated, none of that. So you're going to go with Core, and instead of bringing Emergency like you would usually do, you're going to bring Cyber Rev System to your hand. Now, Rev System is going to be really important for a combo extender, but for now, we're going to go with Machine Duplication. Now, since Cyber Dragon Core is on the field, his name becomes Cyber Dragon. And since he was on the field and Machine Duplication activated, I can target him and summon machine monsters from my deck with the same name as that monster. So that's 2 Cyber Dragons on the field, which is huge. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to immediately link these off. Now, I do want to make special mention that so far you have summoned 1, 2, 3 times. This deck is very susceptible to Nibiru, and it's right here that you're going to need to decide, do I think my opponent is playing Nibiru? So, for the combo, we're going to want to go with Cyber Dragon, Sieger, whatever you want to call him. But if we think for some reason that your opponent is playing Nibiru instead of Sieger, you're going to want to go into Predaplant, because that'll be your 4th summon. You're going to pay 2k, you're going to pitch the Red Eyes Fusion, and you're going to get Dragoon on the field to negate that Nibiru drop. But we're going to assume that the opponent doesn't have Nibiru, and they're not going to stop us from any of our plays. So we're just going to put him in the pile of cards we don't care about right now. So we have Sieger on the field. He is going to be huge for our OTK. So now that Sieger's on the field, you're going to want to drop that Cyber Rev system and get specifically Cyber Dragon on the field. This is important because you need the level 5s to overlay, that's in the grave, to overlay into your Cyber Dragon Nova. Now, it isn't just on the field that core is listed as a Cyber Dragon. It's also in the graveyard, so you do have a viable target to use Nova's effect. You're going to detach a material, not both. Detach a material, and at this point, because you had a legal target, you can actually recover either Cyber Dragon or Cyber Dragon Core. But you want to go with Core for this combo. So we're going to put down the Core, and we're going to immediately link it off. We're going to go into Salamangreat, Almirage. Now, I know I said I'm getting Cyber Dragon monsters on the field. This is strictly for protection. You are not putting it on the field for the combo. You could very well just completely ignore this step. But I wanted to say that it's here, and it's a very good option. So you're going to put Almirage on the field. It's going to protect your monsters. It's a good deal. Now, we're going to Xyz Evolution, or rank up, again, whatever you want to call it, into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Infinity, like I said before, is an amazing monster. It has targeting but non-destruction removal, and it has an Omni Negate. Very powerful monster. And now you could end the combo here. So that's a 2-card combo. You get Infinity, Sieger, and the Almirage protection on the field. And you could have gone Dragoon if you wanted to go with Predaplant. It's pretty good already. But what else you could do if you had this 3rd card, Overload Fusion, you can get your big boss monster on the field. You have a Cyber Dragon and a Machine Monster in your graveyard. You're going to banish these out, and you're going to bring your Chimeratech Rampage Dragon onto the field. This is going to pop 2 cards of back row. Now, if you really, really, really need to clear more than just 2 cards, you could get rid of Infinity, and you could get rid of Sieger for even more back row removal, but that's just not a good idea. Try to stick with just the 2. You should be fine just clearing 2 back row. So now that you've got Rampage Dragon on the field, you're going to use his 2nd effect to send 2 light machine monsters, or is it just machines? Light machine monsters from your deck to the graveyard. You're going to send your Cyber Dragon Hers and your Cyber Dragon Nashter. Now, Hers' graveyard effect is going to activate and it'll allow you to add a Cyber Dragon from your deck or graveyard back to your hand. If you choose deck, your only option is the OG Cyber Dragon. And while that is good to have in your hand, we don't really want that. We're actually going to want the Nashter to be added to our hand, because now any other bricks that you have in your hand, say Red Eyes Black Dragon or Dark Magician, if you know you're not going to be summoning Dragoon, you can pitch those to the grave and get Nashter on the field for free. Pretty solid. I like holding Nashter in my hand for the next turn just in case this doesn't pan out. So now that we have all of our pieces in order, we can finally move to attacking. So let's say your opponent has a monster on the field, as they most likely are going to. You're going to use the Cyber Dragon Infinity's ability to take it off the field. Now, this is only if it's an attack position, but chances are it will be. So now this is up to 2,700 attack. This has 21, and this also has 21, but it has 3 attacks. So you're going to move to the battle phase, and you're going to have Sieger donate 2,100 attack to Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, putting it at 4,200. Now, in this case, Sieger is not going to be able to deal damage to the opponent, but he can still attack to get a monster off the field, and 2,100 is not something to scoff at. So you can use Sieger to get a monster off the field, you can use Infinity's ability to get a monster off the field, and you have Chimeratech Rampage Dragon to clear off 2 back row. At this point, you've cleared a lot of the field, and you haven't even attacked yet. Well, any meaningful attacks anyway. So with all of this in mind, if I got my math correct, you're dealing 15,300 damage. It's pretty hefty, and it's going to be hard for your opponent to beat through that if they never negated your combo. I think this is a really good combo that allows you to actually play with your Cyber Dragon monsters. You don't have to bend to the meta. You can actually play with the deck that you wanted to play. So it was a very simple combo. It's nothing too complicated. It's nothing like the Dragon Link 30-step combo, but it's still very effective at accomplishing what it wants to accomplish, which is that OTK that Cyber Dragons love so much. That's really all I have for this video, and thank you for watching. I know it was something new for my channel. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't know that I'll be doing any more of these, but I don't know. We'll see. Thank you very much.